What's going on, everybody? Episode 5 of Echoes of New Eden. Welcome to the podcast that's, I don't know, I suppose it's very close to being a scam. It's not quite, but it's almost there. Taylor Rick is with us, everybody. Taylor Rick, what's up?
How's it going?
Oh, you know, another day, another nickel, I always have to say, so...
That's right.
Another day, another glorious week in New Eden. We had a lot of stuff going down. I mean, you and I were talking about it before the show, like of all the stuff that happened within the last week. And actually some of them maybe a bit older. Okay, so for some of the headlines,
a little bit of it, yeah.
For some of the headlines that we're going to discuss, we're going to talk about the high-sec islands. This is something that I've been wanting to discuss now for literally a couple weeks, but we kept on forgetting to talk about it. So
we would. Well, I don't know if it was so much we forgot to talk about it as if we just couldn't get to it,
right? Yeah,
with everything else going on. So, but
so we have a clip from Ethereal. And he talked about cloaks in particular. So we'll have a discussion on cloaks. More so recently, India had a game ban, 53 games involved, one being Eve Echoes.
Yep.
We got a small update on the Void and Honk dispute. And then also big news in this last week, SCG basically disbanding, and their corporations are merging into some other alliances, and then, you know, we'll talk about some of the No and Saku attacks toward them. And then also we'll talk about there's a new project coming, and we'll discuss a little bit about it. And I'm pretty sure Cairo said that he wasn't going to be on tonight's episode, but we'll drop the info that he gave. So that's going to be cool, you know. So switching over.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That'll be cool. That project seems really interesting.
Yeah, that, and I have a role in that, believe it or not.
Yeah, you do.
All right, so within the last week, since the 10th was our last episode, they did have a few announcements on the official Eve Echoes Discord. They did have an announcement to tell players about some local chats that have been inactive, and so they decided to delete those channels. We don't know which channels that they deleted because they just say deleted channels. So yeah. I see a couple flags in here. One I recognize off the bat was the German flag, but there's some others where I'm guessing that those channels of those languages got deleted, just not being used. So I don't know how that's a game announcement or why that matters about the game, but that's all right. Then we actually had some interesting questions and answers for the devs this week, and I decided that all of these were actually interesting rather than usually it's just one or two.
Yeah, no, they were all really good.
So the first one, this one, are there any plans for modules, maybe as mid or high slots for capsuleer outposts or structures which prevent the usage of normal cloaks in a SOP system? It's annoying if the enemy just sits with a non-covert ops ship, including battleships, cloaked into the system without any chance to hunt them. And if there's such plans, when can we expect to see them? So the devs' reply to this was, we will consider adding an anti-cloaking module so that some recon frigates can make the anti-cloaking role. The specific release time is to be determined. So that's very interesting. And I was under the impression that we were going to get a corporation add-on or something like that, but it's sounding like that's going to be a module to equip to a recon frigate.
Yeah, and I'm all for that. I think that's fine. I would hate to see it be yet another SOV structure add-on because, I mean, how many you can't fit everything,
I
right?
mean,
I mean, you just can't fit everything inside your Sov.
Exactly.
So you only have so much power out of your Citadel. Even if it's a level 3, you're only going to get, what is that, 130? I forget what it is, 130. Yeah. So I mean, you just can't fit everything. So the fact that they're taking it out of that and putting it more into a ship, that's fine, because that's what this game is. It's ships in space. Yeah, not more anchorable structures. Exactly.
Oh
So,
yeah.
now, and we're going to talk about this cloak question quite a bit in today's episode with some information we're getting from Ethereal as well. So I'm going to leave some of that for that part of it. But I've got a lot to say about the cloaking.
Yeah, they
not only
about,
how it works in the game, but also how I think it should work in the game versus balance and everything else. So I'll save that for a bit.
Yeah, and he talked about cameras and stuff too, which, I mean, they have their use. So okay, we'll save that for that part. But
yeah.
Continuing on with the weekly developer question and answers, this question here: with the upcoming industrial update, are you going to be adding more of the ORE ships? We know that the Orca and Porpoise exist in the code. Is there any plans of adding the covert ops version of the Venture or Freighter? If they are not in if they are not in the May update, is there any plans of adding them in the future? Thank you for your time. And so and Pixie replied to this. He said, there will be no covert ops industrial ships in the May update. Unfortunately, we have no plans to add these ships until the balance adjustment in the second half of 2022. So
Okay, so they're on the table. They're just a ways away.
It sounds like it's in the timeline for the second balance update or adjustment in 2022. So that's kind of a hint as to we can expect that, because I don't even think that is on the Trello yet.
No,
if we want to speculate about it. So
I haven't looked at the Trello in a couple of weeks now. But
they don't update it.
I don't think
often.
anything's changed.
Yeah.
No.
So not only the May update, but then potentially November would be 6 months to get another potential balance update. So we'll see about that. So here's another question: will there be fuel bay, fleet hangar, and ship maintenance bay for capital ships in the future? The answer to that was fuel tank will be added in the future. As for the ship maintenance bay, we need to further consider the impact it will have on the combat environment in EVE Echoes. It is also necessary to further simplify its operations for EVE Echoes. So, as we already know, the devs had stated it once before, is like a lot of people, even to this day, compare everything with EVE Online.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember them specifically saying, this is a different game. It's similar to EVE Online, but it's still very different. It's optimized for mobile. And actually, I think it was when they were trying to implement capitals, because we ended up getting a delay on that, I believe, on the drop.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to make sure that they were dropping capitals that were like beneficial for this game, even though it kind of didn't seem like it was beneficial, but the way that the mobile platform is, whatever, so either way, I forget my point as to why they were doing that, but I think they're trying to do the same thing with this, to further simplify its operations for EVE Echoes. Now, what is the ship maintenance bay? Is that where you can round up like 20 of your buddies and dispatch them?
You can
like
dock,
drones?
you can get repair. Yeah, no, you can dock, you can get repairs, you can change and swap out fittings. You can have other fittings in the hangar. It's like a mobile outpost essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can swap around, load things, undock, and I think that's part of where the disconnect is for some people who don't realize it. Like in EVE Online, when you do that, the capital with the maintenance bay can just drop the ship out in space, and you could be sitting there in a pod and then just get in the ship. It's fully fitted, and you just got into it. Like, that's not a thing in EVE Echoes, and that's not the way. I don't think the game is designed in a way to allow for things like that. So I'm sure they could change it, but what they would have to do all of that, I frankly don't want them to, because I have a feeling that if they did it, it would screw so much stuff up and lag the game out so much that you just couldn't use it. And so then it would just be a more chance of a black screen. And so I'm not really a fan of that part of it, of that getting it loaded in, unless it obviously worked, but I don't know if it can. And but the fuel bay thing though, that's a whole nother ball of wax. You don't necessarily have to dock, but if you've got some sort of version of a drop 10,000 shuttles exactly, that would totally screw the whole thing. But no, I mean, how many times are you in a fight and you're constantly running out of plasmoids for Logi, whether that's the Guardians or Hurricanes or whatever? It would be nice to be able to have some sort of way for a capital that's there to be able to hand out that fuel. That's just mobile logistics. I think there's got to be some way to be able to do that. That part of it, I'm very much for.
Understand too that there actually has to be a capital there.
Exactly.
So most likely being like defensive type fleet engagements, not necessarily offensive ones, but I don't know. You never know, I suppose. With the future content of the game, we'll be seeing more capitals out and about.
Oh, I'm sure we'll start to see more capitals out and about. I ran into a carrier last night, and it was very unfortunate for me in the small fleet I was with, but that's okay.
Rip.
Ran into a carrier. Oh, yeah. Dropped right on freaking top of us. I didn't even see the Sino field, so I have no idea how the hell I missed that, but whatever.
All right.
So,
that happens. I suppose it happens. So
I suppose so. I got to watch a little bit closer, I guess.
Yeah. But, it's only on the
But
map.
no, I'm sure we'll see more of it. Yeah, well, yeah, it should be on the overview, but I don't know. Somehow we were busy with also a few other ships, but so I don't know. We'll see more capitals. The timing is there, but I think the jump drive issue with the capitals really needs to be addressed and fixed before this balance update in May, in order for us to really start to see cap on cap battles. Because it's very difficult to get a capital 80 jumps, 50 jumps, 30 jumps. Every time you jump a capital, you've got a lag time for when you can jump it again, and that time just keeps increasing.
Yeah.
Every time you jump. I don't know how far out that goes. I know in EVE Online, it's like 300 days. This isn't that kind of game. You can't do that.
I hope that they make better, like, positive changes to the capitals.
Yeah. I don't. Timmy is saying the cost issue is such a bigger problem for the capitals. You're right. It's
it really
that build fee of 150 million per part. That's a problem. I'm not 100% sure it's not overcomable. I'll put it that way. I think there's ways you can overcome that, but it is very intensive.
Yeah. All right. So going on with the last question here. As a player who has been T10 for some time, I'm curious when the next tier levels will be added. Also, since the ships from here on will likely be very advanced, will the ship bonuses require expert skill level? Are more diverse skill in future plans? Example, Mimitar Frigate Command, Amar Battleship Engineering, and so on. Will there also be newer version of faction ships once new tiers are in place? So the answer to that was it's still under discussion whether the large-scale addition of new ships into future versions will require higher tech levels, but new manufacturing materials and industrial skills are most likely needed. Currently, there are no plans to add new faction ships. So I've been T10 for, I don't know, several months now, and granted, I'm working on a lot of my, like, I don't know, I'm still working on skills. It's not like I ran out of skills to train in, but
I think capital skills will take forever and a day.
I mean, even battleship skills take, quite a while, and large weapons, that type of stuff still takes quite a while, not even including capitals. So that all your free skill points and whatnot's going over to that type of stuff. But
right.
Yeah, I mean, we know that we'll have capital ore ships coming out soon. With that, they're gonna have like capital whatever type skill setups like they do with dreadnoughts and carriers. Maybe.
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
Capital Command will transfer over to that, but I'm sure they'll have capital or defense skills, just like they have with the engineering skills, and there'll be cap lasers because I've already said there's not going to be mining drones. It's going to be capital lasers. So all your strip mining skills will be gone. You'll have to, if you're going to use that anyway. Orca. Well, actually, I don't know. Is the Orca actually going to be able to put strip miners on it? That's or any kind of mining lasers on it? That's still a question that's up there. You can go and look at the details of the Orca in the game right now, and it doesn't. I don't think you can put strip miners on it. So it's just there for mining boost. It's not there to be a miner, and it's got a huge cargo hold. So it replaces a freighter kind of, but gives you command boosts for like the Foreman mining link and all that. So I don't know what they're going to do if they change that up a little bit. Even the description for the Orca in the game talks about gas mining, gas harvesting. So that's not a thing in the game. So
Not yet. Yeah.
there's a lot of things up in the air for that right now. If they do add additional types of materials and stretch things out that way, I don't know. It's all very much up in the air.
And I remember in a past Q&A, they were talking about moon mining too. We can expect moon mining.
Mm-hmm.
However, I still don't know when it's going to come out. 2025, maybe? I don't know, but
yeah. So I mean, getting back to the capitals thing, right? If you're gonna take the dollar amount per part down, then to me you'd probably want to take, especially with capital mining equipment coming out, you'd probably want to take the amount of minerals needed and go up a little bit, right? You could probably handle a shift of one over the other, especially if you're going to wind up getting mining boosts and you're going to have a Roikel in there or a Noctus, all these other different things that are coming out to make the mining go even faster. Then surely there's an offset in there somewhere. And maybe if you add in these, maybe that's what they'll do. Maybe they'll completely screw up capitals even more and make it to where now you've got gas harvesting that has to go into it, moon mining that has to go into it in order to build additional parts.
oh,
Who knows?
yikes.
That would just totally throw everybody for a freaking
It
loop.
would. Yeah, it would.
Kind of like when they first initially released capitals, the freighter that we had became useless because it didn't have capital rigs now. So
Yep.
it just oh shit, went back to only 325,000 on the hold. Oh crap, that's 32 million trit for 12 billion. Thanks.
Yeah.
So
And they made another point in this about the tier levels. I remember talking with NetEase or them saying something about Tech 10 was the last level that they planned. They didn't plan for any ongoing tiers. Like, there's no such thing as Tech level 11. I know in EVE Online, what's the highest? T3? T2?
I forget. It's been so long. It might be T3.
Yeah,
T3.
Yeah, I think it's T3. So, I mean...
And I'm not really... I know Benzie came out with this video ranting on about the tech levels are the worst thing ever and yada, yada, yada. And I think they served a purpose. For those who joined this game from day one, they served a little bit of a purpose. They kind of gave you a gateway and a time to get into everything else and kind of learn the game as you progressed. And now when you start the game brand new, getting up to T8 is nothing. I mean, it took forever when the game started, but now the amount of time it takes to get through these tech levels is nothing. Yeah. Does it need to be faster? I mean, does a day 2 account need to be flying a Cov 2? I don't know. I kind of feel like someone needs to learn the game and understand it before they can just get into ships like that and go to town. But then again, they could get into faction battleships on day 2. So they just aren't going to have the skills. And I think the skills is what is where the real drawback is. I don't call it drawback, I guess, but that's where the real time is spent to be able to skill up. That's what's having you progress and have goals and take time to get somewhere more so than and the tech level still is too, but it's just not as big of a. Yeah, it is. It is still. Is it still 6 months, Timmy? I don't know. That is a steep curve for a mobile game. That's true. That's true.
Well,
so I don't know. There's.
You kind of have to look at it from NetEase perspective, I guess. They have a large sum of players, and they're all starting the game roughly at the same time, so thousands of players. Like they probably wanted to throttle them back a little bit. It's like, okay, well, we're not gonna have this content available until March of next year. Well, how much is that? In days.
Yeah.
What tech level should we have these players be at by that time? And so on and so forth. And
yeah,
there's got to be some madness in the method or whatever you want to say, right?
Maybe you just take the tech levels now and you just lower the amount of skill points in total that you need to progress to the next tech level. You still have the same amount of skill points you need to be able to get, fully set up in cruisers or fully set up in battle cruisers or whatever. But maybe you just have the tiers go a little faster. So Timmy's put 44 million skill points for T10.
Yeah, 9 to 10 months.
9 to 10 months. Yeah.
So
that is a long time.
One thing with the tier system that I wish that they would fix is the Procurer being a T9 ship when it should be T8.
Oh, well, yeah, that and the Coveter should be T9 and the Coveter 2 should be T10.
Exactly. Yeah, it's like, why did you implement the Coveter and the Coveter 2
at the same frickin' time?
At both T10. Nobody uses the Coveter 1. It's pointless.
Oh, no. Coveter 1 is a great ship to just put like medium rapid missiles on and 2 large newts and just pretend you're mining.
But I just do that in a Procurer.
True.
Dude, I dead serious.
It's cheaper.
I'm dead serious. I undocked a Procurer to mine with a couple buddies of mine, and I roll up to the belt, and I went to activate the miners, and it had no miners. It had cannons on my Procurer. I'm like, wait a minute, this ain't no miner. I couldn't mine with them because I didn't have the ship.
No. That's funny.
All right. Yes. So continuing on with the game announcements. That was basically it for that. We had the maintenance thing going on yesterday. Yesterday. They did do an announcement.
We got the extra 20,000 skill points today. So see, Timmy, it doesn't take 9 to 10 months. Now it just takes 9 months, 29 days, and
maintenance extensions.
13 hours. Yeah. So extra 20,000 skill points.
So they did the maintenance extension. Here's some skill points. Thank you for your patience as far as the that announcement went. And as far as the patch notes, we actually did not get a patch notes announcement. So most likely there was the weekly market update. And I've been saying this the last couple of weeks. We finally got the plagioclase bug fixed. Did you see that? I was given a screenshot of the price being fixed on that. So no more 10 trillion is kill mills.
Wah.
Yeah.
I'm sure PM Blue's happy about that.
Yeah. And there's probably some people in the market that aren't that happy about that, because they're banking on that. And as far as official media goes, let's see. They had the Splendor event was done, so they pulled that last number. Last number was 1906, and I don't know of anybody that won. I didn't see any posts about it. I personally didn't even open any of the things anyway to even pull the numbers because I was just lost interest after the first draw anyway.
Yeah.
So, there was that. And in player support news, they did have like a Q&A about receiving the gifts from the soft drink Splendor. And what they do is they send you an in-game mail saying that you had won. So if you won, you would know, right? Otherwise, your stuff goes off and disappears into internet oblivion. So
you remember how like we even talked about it like during the show where I could never get more than one ticket number, and then someone showed me how to go pull down show all, and then all of a sudden I got 2. Like I know I got more than 2 during that whole thing, but at one point I was only shown 2. I actually got a what was it? I guess it was right after the patch the other day, an email saying sorry for the bug. for your splendid whatever the winning drawing numbers and tickets and all that for, and I got an extra 20,000 SP on top of the other 20,000 SP just for that. I did.
That means they're listening to the show?
Well, I don't know if they're listening to the show. I'm just saying that I'm sure they could tell somehow I wasn't getting awarded the tickets, even though I was supposed to, right? I mean, you go in there and you see, oh, you've got 2, 3, 4, 5. You click those, and then all of a sudden there's only 1 or 2 that are in your inventory. They could tell. I'm just assuming somehow they could tell that wasn't working right. So
yeah, well, that's good that you got compensated for that, because
I thought that was nice. And there was nothing in the patch notes about it anywhere. There was nothing mentioned anywhere. It was just showed up, and I was like, oh. Interesting.
Very nice. All right. Well, that is it for official game news. So we'll cut to a commercial break real quick, and then we'll be right back.
All right.
Achieved YouTube. For people who want to achieve more. I am a gamer and I'm a father of 4. My channel involves jokes, tips and tricks, podcasts and stories, as well as trying to give you that couch gaming feeling we all had back in the days, before internet. So if you want to improve your gameplay or way of playing your games today, I'm right here, and my community Discord are created to involve everyone to take part in enjoying a healthy gaming life. After I became a father, I lost touch with pretty much all my gaming friends, and playing on mobile as well as the computer sometimes, I still felt alone. I didn't really have anyone to talk to or share my gaming progress with. This channel is my way of making sure that if you are in the same situation I was, you can simply join us and experience it all anew. Subscribe and join now. Let us be your couch gaming friends on Achieved YouTube.
GRA is a tactical group geared towards guerrilla warfare, consisting of flexible pilots who adapt to any and all developments of the game, utilize tactics together with the team, thrive under pressure in small gang warfare, be part of a federation, apply by contacting a GRA representative or join their Discord at elguerrilla.online. More info can be found at www.elguerrilla.com. Become part of the legend.
Are you tired of losing structures? Tired of nobody showing up to your POS defense? Don't worry, Carebears with Guns is here for you. We're a family-first orientated group of folks in no space with fancy technology toys like kill mill parsing and ship item dispensary bots. We've got a calendar full of PvE, mining, and PvP ops for however you like to make your ends. Come play with me and try us out today.
Docking request accepted.
And we are back. I had actually put this, I put the commercials together yesterday in the timeline, not knowing Quarry was going to be in the audience tonight. Just so happened to be. So
yep, that worked out good.
Her own commercial there was very good. So,
and question about Graz, ad. Yeah, they're just they're so serious. It's so serious.
Zen is a serious guy.
Only serious applicants apply with deep voices.
Yeah. We need to make a funny kind of mock commercial about that. Maybe that's something to put.
Oh, yes.
Somebody needs to do that. Okay. We were talking about it in the chat during the commercial break. I literally need more commercials. I'm actually kind of sick of only playing the same 5. I don't really have time to make too many myself, but I do have some ideas for some. I just actually have to make them. And every time I see Timmy's name, I go, "Damn it!" That's how you have to say it.
Yep.
Okay, so
I wish I had the time to make ours. I keep talking about it, and I want to chop up, clips from Rick and Morty and do something, and just. Yeah.
It's like
I just don't have the time.
I would help you with that, but I'm probably at least 4 or 5 projects ahead of that. So
yeah. There's people that can help me. My daughter can help me. She's genius with that kind of stuff. But if I just get the time to put some things together.
Yeah. For the listeners, send me your corp ads, send me commercials, anything. I'll play it. Funny songs, Eve Echoes related, what have you. I'll play it. So, of course.
Mocking somebody, whatever.
Yeah, if it's comedy, sure. I like comedy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, going on to our headlines for this week. And this one I made as our top headline because we've been needing to talk about it for the last couple of weeks. And that is the high-sec islands. So, for those that don't know about the high-sec islands, let's see. There is actually a Reddit post. There's Gigaforta, if I pronounce his name right. He had actually released a video several weeks ago of him kind of putting out this realization that there's certain areas in high-sec to where when you accept those encounter missions, you will get like 3 or 4 or more all spawn in the same system as you, or and you won't even have to jump anywhere. So you just start the encounter, you go and you kill the rats, and then you're done. You start the next one, and you go and kill the rats, and you're done. And by the time that refresh timer comes back, you refresh and you pull 3 or 4 more. And it's just nonstop all day. People are doing this high-sec ratting all day. And from what I'm hearing, it's like basically AFK. It's an AFK income.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a Reddit post about this a couple hours ago. And this was on the new Reddit, I should say. And
the
what
only
it was,
Reddit.
the only Reddit. Honestly, I don't even go to the other one anymore. There was one time I accidentally clicked on a link for the other one, and then I just exited out because I didn't even want to read. But anyway, there was an analysis post. They gave some of the background, some of the analysis. They had results. It's like the scientific method here, what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And it was actually a really good post. So if anyone wants to know about these high-sec islands, Reddit echoes_Eve, go to this Reddit post. I could also post a link for you. Taylor just posted it.
I just did. Yep.
And they have some results here. So one giant continent of 1,124 high-sec systems with 32 separate high-sec islands ranging from size from 1 to 17 systems. So what's cool about this post is that they actually include every system, actually, not every, but they have a large number of systems here that are all high-sec islands. And I've been to one specifically just to check it out. So there was actually one day where somebody in Alliance actually was saying something, and I was like, oh, well, they're probably going to fix that just like they're going to fix the high-sec island issue. And there's people in the Alliance that actually did not know this, and this was probably 2 weeks ago now.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yeah, there's these areas where people are basically AFK ratting upwards of, 60 million an hour? Is that what I'm hearing?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I think it did top out around 60 million in some of them, which...
yeah.
If it's me and I'm looking at this list and I'm trying to figure out what to do with my day, I'm not going to go to these systems to AFK PvE. I'm going to these systems to kill everybody else that's there doing this.
I think there was a Reddit post about that, ganking these people that are doing this. So, maybe they're not completely safe. I actually have to update myself on that Reddit post. But I actually have a list of 117 potential systems where they would be considered high-sec islands. That's 117.
I mean, obviously, if it's true high-sec, and I don't know, I haven't gone through to look and see if every single one of these truly is high-sec where you can't target and shoot anybody, then obviously that doesn't work out for you very well. But I seem to recall, though, that some of these are technically low-sec, even though they call them high-sec islands, because they're right in between null, essentially, or they're a pocket. I don't know. I have to go back and look at it again. I'm trying to pull all this up while I'm talking at the same time. But I remember looking at this at one point and thinking, well, that's not actually a high sec system, but it's right next to it. So I don't know. It was confusing.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of these systems I've never even heard of. Some of them I did right off the top of my head. I did, I passed through them, and it's like, oh, 89 people in local. Like, what's going on here? Before you never really thought anything of it, but there's certain systems that are like, this is kind of the middle of nowhere. Why is there 89 people here? And they're all doing the same thing. So
I'm reading some of the comments on that post.
Yeah.
Should try griefing the high sec mission runners with a Logi battle cruiser.
That's been done. Did you see that video? There was a video.
I gotta find it.
I think it was actually posted on Reddit, or it was in the Alliance. Somebody had posted a video, I believe it was Russian, and what he did was he took the words on the screen and he translated them to English. And so what he would do is he would go to mission runners in high sec in a logistics. So he would go to the anomaly that they're at, and he would start repping the pirate that they're trying to kill. I don't know about a Logifrig. In the video I seen was a Hurricane Logistics or whatever it is. So yeah,
just go in a burst too, make it cheap.
Yeah,
or go and heal the rats.
This guy spent, it was like a 30-minute video, and all the footage was with him repping pirates. And people are saying, "Oh, I need to go get more friends. I need to get some friends to come and help me kill this. I can't finish this on my own." He's like, "You need more DPS." And as this guy's repairing the pirate's shield, and they didn't have enough DPS. It's pretty entertaining to watch.
That's pretty good.
But I suppose you could do that to some of these AFKers and turn their 5-minute anomaly into maybe an hour or so, right? Kind of disrupt their income a little bit. So.
Or just make them accidentally lock you back and shoot because they've got all their auto target and everything auto lock back on. So when a Logi locks you, they lock back and shoot.
I do have a little bit of a disclaimer though about this, and that is the devs know about these. It's not unknown to them. Let's just say most likely this is going to get fixed. They're going to find some way to tweak the algorithm as to where the encounters, bring you to do the anomalies. It's most likely going to get fixed because there's a lot. I wouldn't say a lot of people are complaining about it, but I guess people that are trying to, I don't know if you want to discuss economics within the game. You got people that are out in nullsec fighting wars, and then. But half that alliance is in high sec, and they're just farming AFK missions, gaining ISK all day to fight these wars outside of high sec. It's just like there's a whole economics type thing about it.
I'm actually fine with all of that. I'm actually fine with there being a spot on the map that you can go to, and someone, if they decide to lock you and shoot you, gets instantly blapped by Concord. I'm actually perfectly fine with that, if and only if a war declaration actually meant a war declaration, which in EVE Online, I hate when people compare the two games because they're not the same. I get that, but the mechanic for a war declaration in EVE Online means we're at war and I can shoot you no matter where you're at. I wish we could do that. Could you imagine Jita?
Right? Wow.
I mean, that would just be great. But alas, it's not to be.
So, I would say don't get too comfortable. There's already people that have ships, specifically for doing story missions and whatnot. I don't. I stopped doing story missions at right around T8, and so the best ship that I have in high sec is technically a tornado, or actually a Tempest. That's I have my best ship in high sec right now is a Tempest that's doctrine fit. So it doesn't even have like the best DPS or tank on it.
Yeah. I can honestly say I don't even think I've ran a total of 5 story missions since launch ever. I just never was something that I cared for, wanted to spend my time doing. I've just never done it. Just never done it.
One of the things I liked doing about the missions was collecting like garbage and collecting the people that you get from the missions. You know what I'm talking about? Like the stuff that you have to transport.
The little Marines.
Oh yeah, I have Marines, I have miners, I have garbage, I got shit all over the galaxy. I'll throw a miner in my miners, and if exotic dancers is another one.
Dancers,
yeah. And it's funny when you drop because you can't destroy them. Basically, if somebody picks up or loots your box without those items, they can't be destroyed. They're stuck with them forever unless they get dropped. So. Anywho, nice little discussion there. I wanted to talk about the high sec islands. We can expect those to get fixed probably. I don't know when, but
I'm sure they'll do something.
I'm actually kind of surprised how many people don't know about this. Maybe they don't care, but
yeah,
like I said, I brought it up in Alliance chat, and all of a sudden, people were bailing. Like, oh, free ISK. Let's go. All right. So with, we discussed a little bit about the cloaks, in the Q&A and about having that Force Recon ship. Did I say that right? It was a Force Recon ship, maybe a module that we may see.
A frigate. Yeah. Force Recon frigate was what they talked about with the cloaks. Yeah.
So EtherealMind, he submitted a clip about cloaks and their use in the game currently right now. So I'll play the clip.
I've got a problem. I'm getting a bit antsy about cloaking in Eve Echoes. Now, the problem here is that cloaking never dies, right? It doesn't use capacitor. It's got this trivial power grid requirement. And if somebody wants to put a clone, and not even an alpha clone, in a system, we can't ever decloak them to kill them or to capture them. And this is leading to some really suboptimal gameplay, I think.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that cloaking allows people to troll other people just by being there. You can't find anyone who's cloaked. Once you're maybe 400 kilometers away or something, then chances of finding that person are microscopic. It would be nice if we could, if the game moved in a direction where cloaking was something that had a cost or was somehow time limited, so that it was not possible to keep these. They're called cameras, right? Everybody knows them. They're called cameras, and people just put cameras everywhere. It's great to have that knowledge, of course. I feel like the game is better without them.
And I guess my problem is that there's no counter. So in every other aspect of Eve Echoes, if you've got a battleship, it doesn't win because an scepters can take it out, right? Destroyers can take out scepters, but if you have more than one scepter, the destroyer will die. You might have a faction.
Everything has something you can do about it.
If you're using railguns, you can equip your ship with the appropriate resist rigs to counter railguns. If you're going up against a tornado, you take missile disruptors. For cloaking, there's no counter. If somebody comes and camps in your home system, 2, 3, 4 reds camped in your home system, and they're looking to gank miners or to gank ratters who are in the thing, you just can't move, right? The whole system, the gameplay is lost.
So there's base camping. People sit, in the base for weeks, just coming in, logging on, shooting a rat or two, getting chased off, and then logging off again. It's very difficult to prevent. There's not much you can do about it. And it's not great gameplay. It can't be very great gameplay for the people doing it, and it's certainly not very great gameplay for the people trying to prevent it.
And they're putting things like they're putting eyes on the Citadel to see if you're leaving to attack them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And so by the time you hit, and then they have a cloaky in the ANOM to see if you're in the base ANOM, and then a third one comes along and comes in, and then they use, they use the drone bug to be able to attack a ship at 200 kilometers, take down an elite battleship with a drone.
With 3 medium drones at 200 kilometers.
At 200 kilometers.
It's just not very cool gameplay. In this case, we have some people who spend a huge amount of time trying to be dicks, basically, right? I mean, they're just trying to obstruct the game for other people. They're not particularly good at it, but they have a lot of time on their hands. And the cloaking mechanism enables them to have the knowledge to be able to do something at specific times.
Yeah. All of a sudden, one Omega account has 4 or 5 alpha accounts. They can turn that one omega account into a much with a force multiplier. Everybody in the system now, we can't rat, we can't mine, do any activity. So our experience of the game is degraded because the system's got 3 reds in it, and you don't know what they're going to fly in. And in our case, they keep rotating in and out the actual clones, so you never know what skills they've got. So you can't even find a decent counter to what's going on. And we happen to be camped next to an NPC, and in some cases you might even take an action and then suddenly find 4 or 5 other players.
We do get them sometimes, and we do have some fights sometimes, but it's just there's a lot of time which is just wasted, basically. I mean, here we have some people sitting here looking at our camera, because of course we also have a camera. So we have a camera looking at their camera, basically, and then they will send in their single ship or 2 ships or whatever, shoot some rats. Then whomever's watching our camera is like, oh, look, there's someone in the ANOM. And then he will go in and he will chase them off, and it's generally just not very interesting gameplay.
I would rather be out roaming.
I'd rather be on a roam.
We're not opposed to cloaking, by the way. Cloaking doesn't use any capacitor, so the ship never runs out of capacitor. The power grid requirement is trivial, so you can fit it on the cheapest, smallest ships, whether that's right or not.
And I mean, as another example, so now we just brought up the base example, right? But previously we've seen a player sitting in the same system for about 3-4 months in exactly the same place all day long, doing exactly the same thing.
2 eyes in one direction and 2 cloaked alpha accounts in another direction. He can see a juicy, fat, easy target coming up. And then in the home system, he's got a faction battleship and a dictator, maybe a lictor as well. And then he's also got a loot ship. So as he piles up the loot, just stacks it into a loot ship, which then...
The gameplay, I just don't think the game should encourage gameplay that is not a lot of fun for anybody, No.
It's not fun sitting there watch somebody take out a base anom using a drone bug and a cloaky, and as soon as you turn up to have a fight, they just cloak and then log off. It's deeply unsatisfying. I wonder if anybody else who's listening has thoughts on that. If you have, you should probably get over to the Eve Echoes Discord and start voicing your opinions on this and ask if it's time for them to start looking at cloaking.
Yeah, for real. And he had a couple points there to where there's like a level of griefing behind it, right? Because there's people that just stash cameras. Everybody knows it's a camera, right? If there's if there's a player logged in a system, not docked in anything, as far as outposts or citadels, they're most likely a camera. Especially if they're there for hours upon hours.
Right.
And to a corp that, I guess, I don't know, maybe they're in a war and they're sought out to be a target, or somebody has something against them and they have some sort of need to watch them. They would put a camera in there to kind of grief them and kind of maybe keep them on their toes, right? Or they'll watch them and then they'll say, oh, okay, well, this guy's been in the system for 3 hours. He hasn't done anything yet. Maybe I can relax a little bit, and that's when that person attacks. So, man, it's really a thin line right there. Is it a strategy that's allowed in the game? Unfortunately, yes. People do it, and that's what they're talking about. It's like people go to really far extents. I mean, in this scenario, I think they're even talking about like one guy having a guy that watches the undock, one guy watching you at the base, one guy to loot. Like, he's already got 4 accounts basically on you just to kill one ship. And I understand how that, for the person that's multi-boxing like that, it's like, that can't seriously be fun. Is that fun? Seriously? I don't know.
It must be fun for him because he's doing it. I mean, if he's totally just bored to death and it's not fun at all, then he's not going to do it very often.
Now, understandable, he's doing that for the chance of success. Obviously he wants to be able to get the blingy kills. But, to as far as content and seeking PvP, why not just go out on a roam,
Yeah, I mean, because you can just sit there and do a whole bunch of other stuff while you're just kind of barely watching the monitor, and maybe every once in a while you catch somebody, then you can go and catch them, right? I mean, PvP is just as much about the skill and the tactics as it is the adrenaline rush of going and being able to go and kill somebody and take their shit from them, right? So, some people just really, really enjoy that, and that's fine. And I don't see. So, I mean, I got so many things to say about this. It's kind of nuts, and I don't want to spend like another hour talking about it, but I've been there, done that, and you can hear and you can feel some of the frustration in his voice when he's talking about this, because clearly it's happening to them. They're describing situations that have happened to them or are happening to them right now. So I've been through this. We had a period of an entire month where we had a bunch of guys from PHPC basically just camping our system and watching us, and we couldn't do jack shit. And even though they were cloaked, even though we couldn't figure out where they were, we just went about our business, and we just started going about our business smarter. You don't mine alone, you mine in a group. Well, what do you have? At that time, there was no group shield boosters. There was none of that. None of that stuff was out yet. And actually, this was before scanning even came out. So there wasn't much you could do other than just being smart about your gameplay. Don't go solo rat. Don't go solo mine. Do it in a group. Do it at times when everybody can be on, or go do it in another system and let them watch nothing. So, and yeah, cloaks do keep everybody on their toes. And there does need to be, I'm in agreement that there needs to be some sort of a counter to a cloak, like this, recon frigate they talked about. I think that'd be a great addition to the game.
Oh yeah.
Right now, there's the only way to uncloak somebody is to drop a whole bunch of cans on the gate when they come through, which we've talked about is a no-no, according to the devs. So, but that's been done. It's been done for a long time. So, yeah, I don't. If someone wants to play the game that way, then they can play the game that way, and that's fine. The only thing you can do is counter it, and you counter that by being smart, and you just have to think. And sometimes it's a pain in the ass, and it's a bitch, and it sucks, but you just kind of have to take your licks and learn from it. I mean, I know from our standpoint, when that happened to us, there was a lot of people in the Alliance at the time that turned off. They stopped playing. They didn't like it, yada, yada, yada. For us in our corp, it actually made us stronger. We started learning how to work together better, and eventually that shit didn't mean anything. It didn't bother us anymore. So we just kept going about our business smartly, and it was fine.
Exactly. So, but the counter to, like, I don't care if I'm going through a system and I see a player. I'm just traveling through, and maybe there's one person in local. Could it be a camera? Sure, could be. Could it be a ratter, a miner, or just somebody there collecting planetary? Could also be that too. I don't think anything of it. But if there's a person coming into my system and camping for 8 hours a day, every day, and especially if they're not green, like, okay, hey, what's going on with this type of thing? To an extent, that is griefing. It's like if they're red, if it's a corp that you're in a war with, it's like that person is solely there to grief you, and there has to be a counter to that. This is that counter. If they implement this Force Recon module, that would be perfect. Get rid of the people that are camping those systems. Now, if they have
still gotta find them.
You still have to find them, yes. Obviously make them work a little bit for it. But
sure,
if they have a camera over in their space and has nothing to do with me and my space, I could care less if their camera is over there.
Yeah.
If they want to watch it, if they want to post up cameras, because the Alliance has cameras. Every Alliance has cameras. Or strategic or regional traffic areas, what have you. And I'm fine with seeing a camera in Enreal or in Toranos or, on the E-Tech Seagate or whatever. That's fine. I don't care if they see me going through there. What are they going to do? Just see me passing through.
Oh, what? Yeah. It's not like I can go through there every day at 3:00.
Exactly.
Be there waiting for me. That doesn't happen that way.
Those aren't the cameras that I would have a problem with. I could care less about those. If the Alliance wants to watch traffic, let them watch traffic. I guess there's probably people that want to destroy those anyway, regardless. So go for it. Be my guest.
Yeah.
But
I hope what they don't do is they come back and say, well, for covert ops cloaks, now they use fuel. I hope they don't do that.
Well,
that would just totally.
If they use fuel, then that gives them a reason to go dock up or go back to high sec or heck, even plant planetary in your system. because they could do that too.
True. Yep. Yeah.
So, and regarding the camera situation, and I have a number of alts, and I have a number of cameras, and well, actually, I have two of that I use that as specifically for cameras, and it's kind of funny. My cameras actually get messaged. You ever get that?
Yes.
People actually message my cameras thinking that I'll reply. And it's actually quite often I will, because obviously I'm watching them or I'm doing something. But it's funny because this one guy was going through the system. He's like, "Oh, Rambo, that's my favorite movie ever." And then he went to the next system, had my Rambo 2 character. He's like, "Oh, Rambo 2, my second favorite movie of all time." Yes. And yeah, it's just I thought it was funny how they would message my alts like that, and even though they're camera accounts, but kind of a funny story.
Yep.
But yeah, what will we see with the cloaks? So that's a good question. Whether or not they'll use fuel or. Oh, great, Zen! I heard someone talking about me. I blame it on Rick.
Yeah,
it was the GRA
say your
app.
name. Yep.
Everything's got to be serious.
What is so serious?
Meetings are serious. Corporation ads are serious.
Yeah. No, I'm okay. I'll talk some more.
And so that was it regarding the cloak situation. If you had anything else you want to talk about that there, Rick?
No, I mean, if they're going to do something, I'd like to see them do it before this balance patch. I mean, that's May. I guess it's still February, though. That's a long way away. What are they going to do between now and then? There's always things that they do. They haven't lately, simply because of the Chinese New Year. That's over. From what I understand, the devs are back at it. So next week's patch, we'll actually see something. I don't know what. But there's always a little something they throw in that's not on the Trello, that they don't discuss. It just shows up. So... yeah, 3 months, but it just, God, that feels like forever. It still feels like forever. It'll go by quick, but it feels like
it will go by quick. Next week we'll be talking about it. I mean, it'll seem like next week. I mean, So yeah, that was basically it that we had. Thank you, Ethereal, for giving us that clip, and Val. Another big thing that hit this last week, and this is really unfortunate, and this is that India game ban. So what it is India government had banned 53 games in total. I think most of which were Chinese based games, with some with outside development. But as far as what was the reason, like they were like gonna not use to spy on government officials, but like some sort of data leak,
privacy.
Yes, something like that. So yeah, they're banning Eve Echoes and 52 other games in India. So what's this do to the population? We have a large Indian population in this game. There's people in my alliance that are from India. There's people in my corp from India.
I think there was a list that I saw inside of Care Bears with Guns about how many pilots we lost because of that, and I want to say maybe Quarry, maybe you could tell me what you saw in there, but I thought it was over 50. If she's still here. Maybe I misunderstood that post or didn't look at it close enough, but I thought it was over 50 from what I glanced at in Alliance chat. But amazing. Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. And someone was mentioning because of the stuff going on over in Russia right now that this whole banning of certain games in certain countries might go farther. So I hope that doesn't happen with our Russian friends as well, because there's a lot of Russians that play the game.
Right. Yeah.
So
big blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So
that would be really bad.
If nobody's really heard about this, or if they know somebody that may be affected by this, and actually I want to spot Captain Benzie. He had posted a video a few days ago. I don't have the link in front of me right now to know exactly when he posted it. It was within the last week.
Yeah, just a few days ago, I thought.
And I watched this video, and he went super in depth about everything about it. He showed the list of all the games, and talked about it, and he also described a way to get around it. and that was use of a VPN. So, yeah, VPNs can be sketchy sometimes, but I mean, if there's one that works, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if they could figure out a way to make that work, great. But from what I had read of the original Reddit post that brought this to my attention was almost 2 weeks ago now. It was almost the same day that I mentioned it to you in our chat. Said that if he turned on the VPN, the game was unplayable at that point. He could get in, he could log in, but it was unplayable. So imagine the kind of lag you get from black screen large fleets. Now you're doing that when there's one person in the system, kind of thing. So that's why he was leaving. There's no way for him to play. There's just no way for him to play anymore, even through the VPN. It just wouldn't work. Now maybe that was his specific phone, his internet connection. Who knows? Yeah, I wouldn't think I would think the VPN would just kill it. Too much crap to go through there to keep it streaming in real time. At the very least, maybe you could play it, but you wouldn't have any reaction time. So, yeah, it wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be enjoyable at all. So,
yeah, well, there's people are complaining about it. Obviously, the Indian community is not very happy about that, and they've already lost players and potentially losing more over that issue if they haven't found a way around it. So. And then we'll have to follow up on that Russian deal too, whether or not, because I know a lot more Russian people than I do Indian people that play this game.
Oh yeah, it's 5-1 or that.
It's very possible that would make a larger impact to the game, in which we're already kind of on a decline of player base as it is, and it's like this change all of a sudden, and you have to look at it from NetEase perspective too. Is India says that it's a data leak potential or whatever, and NetEase says this is my income that you're taking away from me. It's like they have to balance.
Well, what would they have to? I guess that's one of the questions. If it gets bad enough to where now you've got not just India but also a large section of the Russian community that's impacted by it, what would it take for NetEase to have to change in the game in order for those restrictions to be lifted, right? What is the actual, that part I'm not real clear on. I don't think anybody really knows. At least not that I've seen. I don't remember Bindi talking about it. That's for sure. But I don't know what the actual privacy issue is. Now I do recall at some point last summer there was an update, and it was the update that came out when you could take a screenshot now with your camera and give you those nice, pretty screenshots with the QR code and your name. I don't know when that came out, but it was summertime at some point. And I remember specifically, it is an Indian government ban, but I don't know what their thing is, Lord Milk, as far as what their actual problem is. But I recall when that update came out, I had one guy in my corp say, well, I can't play the game anymore because I don't want to give it access to my camera, and then if I don't give it the access to the camera, it doesn't let me actually get past that screen. I think in the first couple of weeks that it came out, you couldn't, if you didn't just accept it and say yes, then it wouldn't let you get past that screen to just go and get the update and play the game. I don't know if that has something to do with it or what.
Well, I noticed on that same update, they gave you a feature to actually save that photo to the camera roll rather than you having to take your own screenshot of it. Because before, that's what you had to do. You actually had to take a screenshot of the picture and then crop it so it looked good. So, Captain Benzie also made a good point about people in other countries and social media accounts and access to privacy and whatnot. There's such thing as Google and Facebook and all those social media websites. They have access to all this stuff that you post. Granted, it is confidential up until there's a subpoena issued for it, and then they give it up like, oh, here you go, here's all the info that you want. So
they privacy give it up issues faster than a hooker in Amsterdam.
I want to say when I started up this game on Twitter to make a Twitter account, I almost want to say it because you're allowing Eve Echoes to post on your behalf. You're allowing Eve Echoes to see your contacts. You're allowing Eve Echoes to view your email address, and and get your phone number and all this type of info. Like, that's just on Twitter or Facebook. Can you believe that? So it's understandable that India is doing that ban to block the privacy data leak or whatever that people are worried about, especially for government officials, as they claim. But I think in general, they probably shouldn't have access to that stuff anyway. I mean,
yeah, just leave social media like I did.
But we agreed to it. We all agreed to it if we're playing this game right now.
It's easy for me to agree to it because I don't have a Twitter account anymore. I don't have a Facebook account anymore. I don't have an Instagram account anymore. My social media is Discord. So there you go.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate, but here we are. What can you do about that, right? And of course, as many people complain about it, nothing's going to change because they already made up their mind.
No. Well, it's sad when, I mean, why do we play this game? Why does anybody play a video game? They play a game to do something that's fun and take them out of whatever they're having to deal with in the real world, right? You're here to enjoy the content of the game and the community around the game. And it's just a shame that all the bullshit PC stuff, or the political stuff anyway, has to get dumped right back into our face again, when that's exactly the thing we're trying to just get the fuck away from. Mm-hmm. So, oh well.
All right. So, moving on. I don't want to be talking about that for the rest of the episode, but yeah, we'll just keep an eye on that.
Titan T. This is so true though, right? Like he says, I step away from my job of mining to do some space mining. That's correct. I step away from my job where I deal with manufacturing issues all day long to do what? Manufacture capitals issues. Yeah, exactly. More people issues and manufacture more stuff, right? It's just pixels this time instead of real.
Yeah.
So true.
So I wanted to talk about this SCG alliance that had fallen. What is there to be had about SCG nowadays, Rick?
So they were getting. I know they were getting hit in that whole area. No was doing roams down there. Zaku was doing roams with them as well. The first time I'd seen something happen down in that area, the two were doing a roam. It looked like, well, in the video they were doing the roam together. I couldn't tell if they weren't blue to one another, but they were doing the roam together against some people in SCG. And at this point, SCG is merged into GenFed. Multiple corporations inside that alliance have merged into GenFed, and some others have come up north. So now I know there's a lot going around about how that got started. Did No have a contract out to do that? No had stated they had a contract out. Obviously they don't tell people who those, where those contracts are coming from or who paid them. Or I think they did say they got paid like $100 billion though. So that's a lot. That's not just that's a large alliance somewhere. Someone that's got some deep pockets who paid that large of a dollar amount for whatever reason that they wanted to go and hit that SCG for. And it could have been a whole host of people that did it, but there was a rumor going around that it was GenFed that actually did it as a recruitment ploy. That wouldn't be the first time something like that's happened.
But $100 billion though? I mean,
that's a lot, man. That's a lot.
So regarding this situation, I did reach out to GenFed. I did reach out to No, and I did reach out to Saku, and I actually got statements from all three. So I'll start with Mama Rex here. She did reply to me, and she said, No, combined with part of SHH, have been attacking Omist for unknown reasons. No contract exists for this group as of yesterday. So this was taken, she sent this to me on 2/15. So as of 2/14, there was no contract that existed. After 2 weeks of fighting and a loss of the Alliance leadership, the SCG corporations in that region disbanded as they were on shaky footing even before the series of events. Mm-hmm. They have been GenFed friends for quite a long time, and I think it has been the sweetest response I've seen yet inside of Gen to have these guys here with us. They were long-term content partners with us, meaning not blues but grays in very friendly roaming fights. And there's a ton of respect all around. We don't want them to leave our server for any other one, so we brought them in. Yesterday, we agreed with No to have some good fights for the Citadels already in timers, and not start an all-out war between the larger alliances. It appears No is still hitting shields to create new timers in the region, though as of last night, I've asked for comment on that, and I actually did not get the update on that, whether or not that proceeded. So, I mean, yeah, you take that, however you wish. So, that was that statement regarding SCG kind of merging into GenFed. It's like, okay, what's going on there? But as you said, there's corporations that also went to the north as well. So, let's see here. Yeah, the fights in Omist have been relatively recent. I don't have timestamps though, however, but I did get this info within the last couple days.
Yeah, it has been within the last 4-ish days. Zen's right on that one that he posted there.
So,
and go ahead.
I did also reach Run from back then, and I asked him the same question. I asked him because I didn't know that Run is actually the executor of No. I was always going to Tahini for all my info, and turned out Run is actually the executor. So I had to confirm that with him. So I had asked Run if I could get a statement on the SCG attacks. And basically what he had said was SCG has been untouched for over a year since the end of the CC war. They acquired a contract. They deployed there in the south. It took 1 week until 2 alliances disbanded, F2 and a huge chunk of SCG. I asked who made the contract, and he said no. As in, he wasn't going to give me that info.
Oh, as in No made their own contract. Gotcha. No.
Yeah, right. He did send me the battle footage of T6GY. So that was with that battle that they did the 5 capital kills. So outside of the contract with SCG as a target, we were also poking some fun to get some fights. Jen decides to get involved and merge in the whole of Omist into them. So I don't know, that sentence kind of seemed broke there. So now we continue what we were doing before. Instead of SCG, it is now Gen. Nevertheless, this move is on Gen. There's no active hostility towards them, and we purposefully didn't get involved in the war against them with SHH to not, do any more damage there. So, I mean, that was basically it as far as that goes. And then I need to find my conversation with Fosh. So I spoke with Fosh from Saku. And he was, because of the language barrier, he was a bit more forward and direct.
What the fuck?
So, I asked him, I said, hey, what's going on with Saku teaming up with No in the recent content versus SCG Corps that have now merged into Gen? And it looks like Genesis is maybe assisting them with some Citadel timers. And I was reaching out to him for a clear story. He says, No hit F2, small alliance. Some of the Japanese in F2, they disliked Saku and pissed them off. So their patience was enough. So Saku decided to join No in the attacks out there. And that was specific to Saku. That had nothing to do with SHH as an entire alliance. And from what I believe, Saku had spoke with SHH Alliance, and they said, okay, hey, you do your thing, just be careful, right? So they...
Yeah, I mean, for those that don't understand that, Saku's actually an alliance that's in Silent, right? So, I mean, it's not like it's just a corp. That's a whole-blown alliance that's inside of the rest of Silent Federation. So it's...
Similar to Honk.
Similar to Honk. Honk is an alliance, although it's actually a corp, but whatever. That's inside of Silent Federation. So just like Care Bears with Guns is an alliance inside of Silent Federation. So that holds multiple corps. So I mean, each one of those alliances can kind of have their own agenda, their own things that they're doing, and
Exactly.
that are also in line with what Silent Federation is doing. And as Zen said, yep, it's approved. I mean, it's perfectly fine. So I mean, that's what this game is for. It's for content, PvP content, and go and hit whoever you want to hit.
Yeah.
And Saku felt very disrespected. I do remember Fosh saying something about that in chat the other day, that they were very disrespected by F2. So, I mean, yeah, go give them a piece of your mind. Go for it.
And he did say a little bit more. He said SCG collapsed after 2 battles. So,
I mean, I probably shouldn't laugh, but I mean, like, if you can't hold it together, then I mean, that's just goes with everything in this game. And people get pissed when I say this, but it's true. If you can't defend your space, then you don't deserve to have it. I'm just blunt as all get out. I don't know.
Well, understandably, they had some leadership issues within SCG.
Yeah.
So whether or not they, either played the game or just been AFK for whatever reason, there was that black hole that was that. But then with getting attacked from No and them being super aggressive, they were shooting everything in Omist from the sounds of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so Fosh said that is the story. So that's it.
Yeah.
That was all sides.
Yeah.
Aside from SCG. I mean, I don't have any contacts with them. But they're usually mostly Chinese, I want to say, yeah, +8.
I don't know. I'd have to see. There's one corp specifically that's come over to Care Bears. I'll have to talk with them. I don't know them very well yet.
So, yeah, I think in Omist right now, Omist is under siege for some content for the timers out there. So it looks like Genesis is handling that from now on, and some corporations merging and moving, and I mean that's kind of common in the space we call New Eden, right? What happens. So
it's part of it.
All right, man, can you believe it? It's already been over. Okay, last topic. I promise you, I won't bore anybody else anymore.
Rosalind's actually in the chat. He's asked a couple of good questions. So after we get through with this, I want to answer his one specifically. So, but go ahead.
Okay.
I just want to make you aware of it.
Yeah, I do see it.
Okay.
So, I know Cairo was on New Eden FM last week. I listened to every week's New Eden FM, and Cairo had came on there, but just before then, he had reached out and. He did like I don't know, not a call to arms, but he'd reached out to people for this project that he's doing. And I've told you about this project that he's doing. So it's basically a history of Eve Echoes. And he did have a statement about it, so I'll read this statement. It's, okay, so a new community project is being developed to record the history of the galaxy. Project Echoes of Eve Past is developing a comprehensive history and audio drama series of the wars, intrigue, and battles fought during the first year of Eve Echoes. The project is looking for writers, editors, researchers, and voice actors interested into helping make into helping make the project a reality. So if you're interested in participating in the project, reach out to Cairo number 8510 through Discord DM. Together we write the story of the galaxy. So yeah,
no, Zen, you can't write yourself in. No.
I would say yeah. So the galaxy goes like this.
Yeah, he's gonna have someone, the guy who did the Gra ad, do the entire. Yeah.
So and
I do love the fact that he's gonna have voice actors, though. That's just hysterical. That's right. I mean, that's gonna be so awesome. I can't wait to hear this.
And I had asked Cairo if he was going to be on the show tonight. He had said no tonight, but he will be on the show to talk about this in the next week or two. And so he started up a Discord specifically for this project. And so anybody that's interested in gathering material talking about their experiences, and he already has a timeline of certain instances. And I had to remind him of the bot wars. Remember those? That was a period of evacos, right? The bot wars.
Yep.
And and he had some very notable early events that happened in evacos that that newer people that they may not know, but they may find some sort of fascination as to what happened back then and kind of how that shaped the game and the community nowadays. So him going back and doing all of this and getting the research behind it and getting people to talk about this stuff is like, I don't know if he's going to do like a podcast or if he's going to have videos that, that would show maybe references or systems or have some sort of
audio book.
I don't know.
It would be great if it's actual video though, and you just see like a picture of someone who's like sitting at their desk and they're like trying to be all serious, recanting like that day he was in the lunchroom getting ready to go to his meeting, but he couldn't because he was on comms trying to finish the CTA. Like just total, or animated like Archer. That's even better.
Yeah, I don't know yet. It's still really
that would be
early.
Awesome.
It's still really early. He's really just getting research and volunteers to help him with the project. So if anybody's interested in helping with making this project with Cairo about the history of Eve in the first year that it was, reach out to him or reach out to me. I can give you the contact and, we can make it happen. And actually, did I tell you, Rick, that I'm actually part of this project?
You made like a really coy mention to it earlier before we started the show, and that was the first I heard of it. So no, not until. And for those of you who don't know, Rambo loves to do this. He loves to just bring up stuff randomly on the show. I have no idea what he's going to say because he likes to hear my reaction off the cuff because I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
So
there is a lot of off the cuff type stuff that that I enjoy from you. Yes. No, actually, with this project, I was deemed the audio master. So
nice.
I will be doing probably all the mastering for the stories and whatnot that people record. I would probably gather all that, put it into the timeline, get it all mastered and meshed, and music behind it. I have some visions already on how this project is going to go. I'm going to make a promo for him and see how that goes. And, it's going to take a little bit of time, but, I don't think this is going to be even a weekly type thing. I think this is going to be like maybe a once a month type episode as info comes in and as they build the story of whatever the situation is. And, just make for a good episode. So
you could just have just clips from The Office playing to go as your video going over the top of all the.
And I was thinking too, just like if I were to listen back to all my podcasts from last year,
oh man,
that'll reminisce a number of large topics that had happened throughout the year. So
yeah.
Let's go back to those questions that we had in chat, Taylor. It said that there were some questions.
Well, Rosalind brought up two things. One thing, actually, that I didn't even think about when we were having a discussion about the servers and the issue with it being Chinese servers and all of that. He does point out that you're correct that they do have two separate sets of servers for this game. Remember, there's the Chinese servers that we always talk about that run smooth. Then there's the non-Chinese servers, right? So, I mean, maybe that won't get impacted so much. They were moving the these servers back to CCP control as far as what we call the American servers or the rest of the world's servers. So, maybe some of that will get resolved at that point. That was a good point that I'd forgotten about that Rosalind brought up. And the other one, which is actually more to the story we're talking about with SCG and some of the stuff we talked about with Void in the past, and of course, No getting contracts for doing this, that, or the other. He said his question was, much of New Eden FM show has been called fake news recently. What's your thoughts on whether our shows are being used as vessels for propaganda? Well, I just assume that a lot of information we get is slanted and biased and basically just it's all a propo war, right? I mean, it's just a giant propaganda war. So that's, I mean, some information we get, you can take for what it is. It's not biased. It's just like Zen just said, perspective. And I like to always operate off of the idiom. I don't know who came up with it. I'm not smart enough to have come up with this myself. Someone said it a long time ago, but I've always lived by it. There is no such thing as fact or truth. There's only your perception of it. So, is some information being fed to us specifically to be used for propaganda? Sure, that's what it is. That's what it is.
On the actual question though, like as of like, what are my thoughts on whether, our shows are being used for prop? I personally don't. I choose what I want to have on my show. I choose, who to ask certain questions to, regarding wars or whatever, and whether or not that info that I get coming from them could be through their perception or maybe in a bias or something. I just report that. So
right, and then you give your opinion on it, just as I do. So I mean, that's fine.
But with New Eden FM being called fake news recently, that's news to me. Like I don't believe that to be true at all. So,
No.
And even then, it's like
no, that's not my.
I listen to it every week, and it's not like I'm sitting here like, no, that's wrong, no, that's false. I'm not sitting there saying that.
No,
I'm not getting mad over it. So, and I know this for a fact because I ended up getting a lot of heat on that void dispute one.
Yeah, we did. You did.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, just be adults. Good point, right. Rosalind. So.
All right.
Cool.
Well, that was it. I think we can actually wrap it up, as this would be our shortest episode ever. Can you believe that?
Hour and a half. That's a short one. Yep.
Yeah. So we'll start the outro. I'll do my shout outs here to all the other content creators. And just Echoes from the Front, Damon Zell. Go check out his content over there on YouTube. Does episodes every week. And of course, the premier Russian news outlet, Sky News. Got to give them a drop. They do good work over there. And for people that don't know, they also have English subtitles in their videos and whatnot. So it's not completely all in Russian. New Eden Radio. Shout out to Mackenzie, Rosalind, Alondria, and the New Eden Radio staff. They always put on a good show over there. The Sheev YouTube. Shout out to Sheev. He's my man. Brother from another mother. He's always putting out content, even though he does other games. He does still put out some quality Deep Echoes content. Shout out to Muse, Captain Benzie, always providing good videos and informal videos on his stuff. And I mean, that's it. That's the show, Rick.
That's it.
All right, so thank you for everybody that joined us in the studio live today. Very, very much appreciate the company and the chat that we have in our chat here. And it's always great to, not be talking alone, I suppose. It's just...
Yeah, don't forget Big Skillet. Good. Yeah, you're right, Rosalind. He's awesome. I love watching his stuff.
Big Skillet, yes. And there's so many content creators, like I can't shout them out all. Like, I just have to give them all a shout because, I talk with them all in our content creator chat. And yeah, I mean, we're all good with each other. So all cool stuff. All right,
it'll be fun to get in there someday and do that as well.
Well, everybody fly safe, and we'll see you next week on the next episode. Take care.
All right. See you guys.